Just finished our third class with Applause Your Paws. It was different to what we normally do because I went on a different day of the week at a different time, and so we had a different trainer. What I learned in this class was that every trainer has such a different approach and a different prescription around how they recommend to do things. So it was interesting because when the trainer today, she was super nice. I really liked her. But when she saw Vigo and how friendly he is, I told her we're trying to get it under control a little bit. And what I meant by that was I am trying to get him to a point where he's not seeing someone in close proximity to him and expecting to go greet them and play, because that's what he's doing right now. He's lunging at people, especially if they're close. I have to remind myself he's 6 months old. When it's a distance or when they're not engaging with him, he's pretty good. So we're getting there, but we're not quite where I want to be with him yet. And she was very much like, no, you want to encourage him to be friendly. Tollers are notoriously independent. I was like, I know, I don't want him to be reactive to other people and dogs. I want him to know it's appropriate to greet people type thing. I'm disappointed our conversation kind of got cut off because he was about to start the class. It was interesting and kind of, I was proud that because he is so friendly. It's not that he is afraid of people or that he's aggressive towards people. He's super friendly. I just don't want him to end up in a position where he's hyper social. I think that's the phrase for this kind of brand of reactive. And it was interesting because in the class I saw people taking their dogs and greeting the other dogs. No one approached me. I kind of picked a corner that was further away. If they had, I would have said, hey, I'm so sorry, we're not doing on-leash greetings. But I'm not sure where this trainer was going with that. We didn't finish the conversation, so I'm not sure if she would agree with what we've been doing. But regardless, I'm going to crack on with not allowing on-leash leadings and not allowing him to greet strangers, because so far I do think it's working. Even though, again, we're not at 100% where we want to be, I think he's moving in that direction. I'm super proud of his progress. So that was interesting. Then the class started and we did a lot of stuff that honestly Vigo and I have kind of done before. We did sit, down, stay, leave it. Another interesting thing is with leave it, we normally don't use a cue. So Susan Garrett basically teaches that you have a search cue, which is when you throw food on the floor, and that's telling your dog, okay, when I say search, you can get the food on the floor. The idea being that if you don't say search, your dog doesn't pick up the food. The instructor saw me, we were doing leave it. She saw me put food on the floor and not say anything, and then pick up a piece and say search and throw the food. And she said, what cue are you giving him when you throw the food? And I told her it's search cue. And we had a really interesting conversation about an implied leave it. And actually following that conversation, I do think I'm going to try and start introducing a cued leave it, so that it's implied that he will leave the food on the floor or whatever, anything around him. But for something that is very highly desirable for him, I want him to learn that leave it means do not touch that. And that can be applied to other dogs, to people. So we're going to start working on that. That's a new thing that I'll start kind of building on this week. We did loose leash walking. We did a lot of things that Vigo and I have kind of already done. I think for me, the great thing about these classes is having him around other dogs, and especially reactive dogs. It's funny because at first I was kind of like, is this going to make him reactive? Is this going to teach him bad habits? But actually, I'm finding that what it's doing is having him practice neutrality around dogs that are kind of losing their shit, for lack of a better phrase. Like there was a Chihuahua who seems super sweet. Like this is nothing against these dogs. They seem super lovely. But this Chihuahua, I think I've been to one other class with her, would not stop barking. The whole class, this dog was barking, and we were we were next to her. So this dog would look at Vigo and be barking at Vigo. Vigo was very good at disengaging. We were practicing loose leash walking. So I was walking kind of back and forth in a line, and we'd get not close to this dog, but kind of facing the dog, and the dog would be barking at Vigo. And I'm trying to practice with him, not pulling him away, but having him choose me instead of the dog. And so that was good that we got to practice that, because oftentimes we don't get to practice that in this kind of setting without the other owner being like, oh, he's friendly, can he say hi? So I was really proud of him for kind of being able to practice that too. And then the instructor said, Vigo should probably be in level 2. She said you could probably skip your last 2 classes of level 1 and just jump to level 2. So I might see if we do that, but we'll see. Overall, again, really happy with it. I really liked the instructor today. It was also nice because I feel like I was able to have more conversation with her than I have had with the other instructor. Maybe because of where I was standing in the class, maybe because Vigo was more relaxed in this class than he's ever been before. It's actually been such a journey, because I remember in my first class, I was like mortified at how he just wanted to greet everyone and see everyone, and I'm just so proud of how well he's getting at not reacting to the other dogs, and I'm hoping that's something that we can transfer to the street and when we're out and about and when we're in a restaurant. Really proud of him. I'm gonna call Applause Your Paws, see if we can join level 2, see what that's about. I also want to start understanding how we can book in his test for the good canine citizen qualification thing. Really proud of my chunk, and continue to recommend Applause Your Paws if you have a dog in Miami and you want to do some in-person training. I'm excited to maybe try level 2. We'll see.